Men going their own way is finally waking women up. Women are finally realizing that men are no longer playing games. 90% of men are no longer getting married, having children, getting into relationships, or dating. They've completely opted out and they're focusing on living their best lives. Today's video comes from Taylor Alicia. Her channel is linked in the description of the video so that you can go and check her out. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of women finally beginning to wake up and understand that most men are now going MGTOW after they said they wanted the bear and men said you can have them. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. Things are not going so great for us on YouTube, guys. So if you don't want to lose access to angry guy content, follow us over on Rumble. Our Rumble is linked in the description of the video. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video after a message from Angry's Crypto Academy. Guys, you already know what's going on. Things are not good. The economy is bad. Trump is talking about auditing Fort Knox. They're probably not going to find what they're supposed to find in there. The fact of the matter is that you need to begin preparing for hard times because hard times are absolutely here. The ATMs are going to stop working. Banks are going to chain the doors. Protect your wealth and safeguard your future with crypto. Angry's Crypto Academy will teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. We'll tell you exactly which coins will mint you millionaires and how to spot potential coins to invest in. Also, don't miss out on the cryptocurrency right now that no one is talking about that will mint you millionaires. We refer to it as the dark horse crypto, and it's going to be massive in the upcoming bull run. Click the link in the description of the video below to find out which coin this is and join the academy. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
If you didn't already know, one of the biggest epidemics that we are facing here in America today is men choosing not to get married. Today, I want to dive in and talk about what is happening, why it's happening, and the best part, the solution to all of this. Let's dive in.
The society we're creating right now, more and more men don't want to get married. And I get why.
I'm never gonna get married. I don't want to get married.
Why? My dad, he had always told me, do you know what the #1 leading cause of divorce is? And I was like, oh my God, like that's a huge question.
Made you want to never do it.
I'm gonna divorce you, but you're still gonna be responsible for paying for me.
So let's start with the why. Why is this happening? Well, here is a discussion on Reddit about this topic and a few men sharing why they have made this decision. I love my significant other, but marriage itself has literally no perks in my eyes. What does it give me that my current relationship status does not? Another saying, I've seen marriages fail all around me. My mom is not happy in hers, but she has her own issues. My friend who didn't want to get married or have kids at first, got married, had a kid, wife cheated on him with 2 different men, and they got divorced. He's paying child support and is starting to think his kid isn't his. He's afraid to take a paternity test, but knows he should. That alone was enough of a reason. Another writing, marriage is an archaic social construct. Even the arbitrary steps to getting married are ridiculous, and all for social acceptance and validation. Expensive engagement ring, bachelorette parties, wedding shower, expensive wedding and reception, honeymoon. You don't need any of that to simply love your partner. And the last one, it creates a contractual agreement between 2 parties that either party can withdraw from the contract at any time. However, the less well-off party can have the state order the more well-off party to give a substantial amount of income to them just because they decided to void the contract. If you did not describe this as marriage, any lawyer would tell you to run. I have no desire to involve state in my relationship just to give someone a tool to ruin my life with. Okay, so across the board, there are 5 main reasons why men are choosing not to get married. The first reason being feeling trapped and tied to someone who would cheat or lie to them. When we marry, we are putting our faith in the other person to not betray us. We are putting faith in this person to remain faithful, to not lie or cheat, to love us through sickness and in health, as we know life is uncertain and full of storms and trials. We put that faith in a person, and they could turn around and not remain faithful to the words they promised you. The second reason being witnessing divorce and the effects of it. It is no surprise that when a child is born in a household of divorced parents, the effects are detrimental. Being a bystander to the hardship, betrayal, and or ruin of our parents can significantly impact a child's life when it comes to relationships in the future.
So here's something very shocking statistically. The children who are raised by a single father typically have the same or even better chances of avoiding becoming inmates, illiteracy, all of the negatives that you see, especially associated with the African American community, where they have high rates of fatherless homes. Yeah, those things are pretty much completely avoided when a child is raised solely by a father. So single father households tend to be extremely effective compared to single mother households, which tend to produce, children that ultimately end up going on to prison. It's a very sad, but it's a sad reality, but it's true. Men tend to raise children much better than women do. And it's because of the structure that men provide. Men are also less likely to be out in the streets, constantly going around with a lot of different women. Men are more likely to actually shield their children from, having a woman in the homes, bringing a different woman around their kids. So, for example, if you have a single fathers are much more protective of their children than single mothers are. They are very, very aware of the risk of bringing someone new into the child's life. And as a result, regardless if they have a boy or a girl, they are very, very defensive when it comes to their children. I mean, it's true. Modern women have lost their maternal instincts. They don't have it anymore. Most modern women do not want to have kids. Most men today, it's not so much that they don't want to have kids. They don't want to have kids with a modern woman because of they understand how society is and how marriages end up occurring. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of men like myself that increasingly just don't want children anymore. And for me, it's, I'm a lot older. I'm in my 40s now. I'm heading into I wouldn't say I'm extremely close to my mid 40s, but I mean, in a year, yeah, I'll be very close to my mid 40s. I'll be 42 this year, and so I'm a late Gen Xer, and I kind of look at my life right now, and I look at the older Gen Xers ahead of me. These guys that I went to college with, I remember some of these guys when I was starting college, they were in medical school, and now I look forward and I'm like, these people are not doing as great as I would have thought. You know, Many of them have been through divorces, they've gotten married, they've had children, and I just don't like their lifestyles. I don't like their lifestyles one bit. And I kind of realize I don't want to end up like them because these are my peers. These are people who I worked with, these are people who I studied with. And I'm like, they're just absolutely miserable. People, society looks at them and they're like, oh, they think adults, but I see them as people that I went to school with, and it's like they don't really say a lot of good things. They talk about their kids and it's like they're crappy kids, and then I hear about their daughters and it's like it's one thing when you're looking at like a 21-year-old and you're like, oh, she's so hot. And then it's another thing when you have a Gen X friend and they're telling you about their like this has literally happened to me where I had a Gen X friend, and his daughter was into me. But the problem is that he's telling me about who his daughter is, and she's like, she wants to be in a relationship. She was 100% into me, and she's doing things to like get my interest, like even some, and telling me like, hey, we need to get together, blah blah blah. But then the problem is like he's telling me like how lazy she is, and this is a good friend of mine, and you're like, oh, maybe he's trying to tell you that his daughter like he doesn't want you to be with his daughter. No, this guy would love to have me as a son-in-law. The reality is that his daughter is slacking off in life, and it's like you start to hear You start to understand people, and you're like, you look at the fathers, and the fathers are not saying good things about their kids, and you're like, what the hell would I even be getting myself into as a man? And I think a lot of men are feeling that way right now, where they're looking at relationships with modern women. They're realizing the juice is not worth the squeeze, and having children with a modern woman is only going to lead to extraordinary pain and suffering for them later on, because those kids don't belong to them. Those kids belong to the state, and it's better for most men as soon as they wake up and realize those kids aren't yours. Those kids are Uncle Sam's. You're only going to be held responsible for providing for those kids, but you will have literally no authority over those kids. Modern women, they operate as agents of the state, and so they're basically the ones who have control over those kids. The state the state, of course, is the one who actually owns those kids. You don't actually have any ownership over your kids. You have no real authority over your kids, and men are realizing that it's just not worth it. It's better to just stay home, play video games, and live a simpler life, because children are also so expensive. So you're going to end up, and then the money that you're going to end up losing in child support, it's not even going to help your kids. That's basically just free money for the woman. So she's building her life off you. That's one of the reasons why I also tell you guys that you need to hedge your bets. You never really know what happens. You should have money set aside in crypto, and that should be a long-term investment. You don't tell anyone about it. Don't tell your wife about it. Don't tell your kids about it. Don't tell anyone about it. You keep that completely secret. That's the great thing about crypto. You can hide it away, and it can be extremely hard to trace it once you have it, once you've sealed the deal. Okay. And that's pretty much the end of it. That's pretty much the end of that. And they can make your, even if they do find it, they can make your life miserable, but they can't get your crypto. There's so many different ways to seal the deal and to hide your crypto. And that's really the key. And that's why I keep on telling you guys that hard times are here. We know that inflation is going to continue skyrocketing, and the ATMs are just going to stop working. The banks are going to chain up those doors. It's going to be like the Greek economic collapse all over again. And your only bet to protect your wealth and safeguard your future is going to be with crypto. So definitely go and check out Angry's Crypto Academy, which will teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. And we'll tell you exactly which coins will mint you millionaires and how to spot potential coins to invest in. So don't miss out on that. The academy is linked in the description of the video. I mean, guys, it's not going to get any better. It 100% is not going to get any better. Expect things to get considerably worse economically. Expect like the blinders to be pulled away, and people are going to see, yeah, it's bad. Our unemployment rate is really closer to something like 24%, and that's when the floor is going to fall out, and people are going to be panicking and looking for everywhere else to store cash and to grow wealth. And of course, as this is happening, those of us over in the crypto sphere are just going to be watching and kind of giggling to ourselves, because we already knew this was going to happen. We already knew the stock markets were going to crash, and we already knew that people were going to panic. And at that point, while everyone is selling their stocks, they're going to be trying to buy crypto, and we're just going to be, chilling and selling and enjoying and selling. We're not even going to be, a lot of us like me won't even be selling. We'll be basically loaning, because a lot of companies, a lot of institutions, crypto is going to become so expensive for the average person, especially the coin that I'm keep on telling you guys, every single one of you needs to own at least one of these coins. Especially these coins, like especially coins like this. Crypto is going to become so expensive, that a lot of institutions will no longer be able to afford to buy crypto. They're going to have to borrow it from people like me that holds considerable amounts of specific coins, and they're going to have to pay us interest to just have custody of those coins, and then they're going to have to return those coins to us after a certain period of time, or we'll have the option to say, hey, give us our coins back. And of course, we're going to have extraordinary regulation coming into the crypto industry. So they have to return our coins to us. And if they're not able to return them to us, they'll eventually have to return the exact amount of money that, those coins are now valued at the time when they're supposed to be returned. So it's going to be very interesting how crypto regulation is going to change everything, with the new SEC chairman and Elon Musk playing a massive role in the government. But women are going to heavily miss out a lot on this boom, because modern women are not very good at budgeting. I'm not saying there are not some women who can budget, but the average woman struggles with budgeting. We know this because they've reported themselves. Most women have very serious money issues, while the average man, who's not getting married, not having children, this does pretty well when it comes to money, because most men are minimalist by nature, Most women are not. The average man can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road. The average woman cannot. And that makes a major difference when you consider where things are really heading for society. Let me ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom, it's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now.
Difficulty forming healthy relationships, trust issues with partners, and challenges with intimacy, among so many other negative factors. But when you are a child of a divorced family, this can be detrimental when it comes to somebody choosing whether or not they want to get married. Number 3, it costs too much money to get married. In 2024, the national average for a wedding costs $33,000. A venue alone can range from $5,000 to $15,000. Catering can cost between $50 to $150 per guest. Floral arrangements can cost between $2,000 and $4,000. Wedding party attire sitting around $1,000 to $3,000. Truly, the numbers are crazy and enough to make your head spin. Normally, a bride's parents will typically pay for most of the wedding costs, but the prices were not nearly as much as we are witnessing today. It used to be that the whole point of a wedding was that a couple could raise money at the wedding to be able to go start their lives and get a home. But now, the prices to throw the wedding itself are so astronomical that you are lucky to get back 30% of what you invested into the day. Among researching for this video, I discovered that weddings became more expensive due to a number of factors. The rise of individualism, for starters, which was influenced by the royal wedding of Diana and Charles, which led to the belief that lavish weddings were something a couple deserved. I never knew that, and I thought that was so interesting to find out. Another factor being the economy after World War II. Middle and working class people had more disposable income, which allowed them to spend more on weddings. And lastly, because of the wedding industry's influence. The wedding industry convinced people that extravagant weddings are the only way to get married.
So basically, guys, this is because of the boomers. Like I've always said, the boomers continue to push a cultural norm of indulgence, consumerism, and having your life centered around money. Now, let me make it very clear. Money is important because it gives you options in life. However, for the boomers, it was all about spend, 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 buy, 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 buy. And when they realized that they would not have enough of their own money to do this, they started stealing from others. And they did this by passing bills and passing laws that allow them to extract wealth and resources from future generations while using that money to then pay for everything in the present. And they're still doing that. They basically, inflation is nothing more than hidden taxation. The true taxation is not the taxes that we pay, that they take out of our paycheck. The true taxation is the inflation, and the only thing that creates inflation. This is something that I think Morton Freeman, his, the most one of the most popular, famous economist ever. He said this, that the only thing that creates inflation, it's you know is the government printing money. That's what creates an inflation, the government printing money, quantitative easing. All right. And all of this inflation was created by the baby boomers and their parents, but it was accelerated by the baby boomers, who basically said, this is how we're going to do things. That's why the baby boomers own most of the physical assets in the United States. They own 80% of the stock markets, and they basically continue, pushing the prices of everything higher and higher, as they demand more and more, and we're basically the ones who have to pay for it. And now, 20, not even 20, back in the 1960s, people would spend 15 to 25% of their salaries, their take home pay. Your average professional would spend around 15 to 25% of their take home pay on housing. Okay? Today, it's typically around 40% or more of a professional's take home pay. And the average person today is making like around $50,000. However, if you adjust that around 40 to 50,000, if you actually adjust that for the cost of if you actually adjust that for the cost of the ratio to what people were paying for rent back in the 1960s to their actual income, it would actually result in people making on average around $72,000 a year, and with that that were just professionals. And if you had a college degree, it would be roughly around $85,000 a year. So it's crazy. We've been robbed as a society. We've been robbed as people. The boomers have stolen everything from us, and they destroyed traditionalism. We used to have intergenerational wealth. Most boomers right now are trying to practice this entire thing called die with zero. It's the die with zero movement, or die with nothing movement, where they want to die with no money in their bank accounts. They would rather give their money to the state or to caregivers than to leave it to their children. And I've said this plenty of times. It's only more evidence that we're dealing with people who never liked us and did not want us. They want to basically leave the world in as work in a they want to leave the world, and they want to leave us in as bad of a shape as they possibly can. That's HATE. Those are people who do not like you. So our parents did not like us, and the boomers have always had the "I got mine, so it's your fault you didn't get yours" mentality. Some of them will say, "Well, my kids are doing great. Okay, so my I got mine, my kids got mine. It's your fault you didn't get yours." It's like a bank robber going into a bank, robbing the bank, holding up the bag of money that has your money in it. Also, it has all of our money in it, and saying that "I got my money." It's your fault you didn't get yours. And it's like, bro, you just robbed the bank and you took all of the money, and you're literally holding my money and saying it's my fault that I don't have my money. You're holding my money. You robbed the bank. And they're like, listen, that's not my problem, man. I'm doing well, and my kids are doing well, and that's on you. And keep in mind, a lot of boomers don't give a damn about their kids, but some of them are like, well, my kids are doing well. Okay, so your kids are doing well. So your kids benefited from the money that you stole, my money and everyone else's money, and now you're mocking me because you stole my money, and you're living your best life off my money, and you're still stealing my money, and you're mocking me because you're still stealing my money, and I'm doing horribly while you're living off the money you're continuing to steal from me. And of course, you're dealing with people who have very sociopathic tendencies and ideologies, so they will never acknowledge what they've done or see the perspective that you're presenting. They're the ones that destroyed they're the reason why we have fatherless homes. They're the ones who destroyed traditionalism. The very notion of it, like all of these, like, I need to have mine and blah blah blah. Before the baby boomers, you'd have multiple generations of people, families living under the same roof. The boomers were just so miserable to live with that a lot of Gen Xers were glad to just get away from their parents when they reached a certain age. But let me make this very clear. Even for people like Donald Trump, it was not common to move out of your parents' home. Like, it was just, guys, like, and many of you guys will completely disagree with me on this, and that's perfectly fine. But I am older than a lot of, like, people who are listening, a lot of people watching my videos, or I'm wiser. All right. And I'm telling you right now, this current, while many of you are like, this is just how it is, and I don't even want to be around those people, neither do I. But this is not a normal society that we live in. Before the baby boomers did what they did, You would have multiple generations of families living under the same roof. The very notion of a person living on their own was just unheard of. You would go to college. If you went to college, you'd go to college and then you would move back and you would go right back to your parents. This is, and you would share resources. This is how they still do it in places like the Middle East, okay, where they all share they all share resources, even in some cultures. Look, even at the Amish, and I'm not saying you have to be Amish, but I'm saying there are many cultures today, even in the Philippines, it's still not uncommon for multiple generations of families, and even in various Hispanic countries. Again, it's not. Look at Italy. You know, it's not. It's normal for you to live with your parents, live with your mother, live with your parents until you get married, and even after you get married, it would be normal for you to for you to move into for your wife to move in with your for your wife to move in with you, and you continue living with your family, and you grow wealth that way. The baby boomers, they're very, very selfish. They destroyed the very notion of intergenerational wealth. They took everything that their parents had, they sold it. Some of them are still living off the scraps of what's left, and they didn't pass on any of it to their kids while they're still caught. And then they talk about kindness. These were the least kind people out there. And now a lot of younger women, modern women, I shouldn't even say younger women, modern women are now going to face the extraordinary consequences for this. And because they've inherited a lot of these sociopathic beliefs that the boomers have passed on, they will never be able to understand the mistakes that they've made because they've been raised to not take accountability for anything. As men, we are forced to take accountability for everything, for things that we do and the things that we don't do. Women, on the other hand, are bailed out of every bad decision that they make. So they're never going to be able to really deal with hard times because they won't know how. And of course, many of you think that, no, Angry, someone's going to bail them out. The state's going to bail them out. Someone's going to. I don't think so this time. They're going to face extraordinary hardships this time because of the poor decisions that they've made. No one's coming to save them. And, we can see that the government is being heavily scaled back. It's only going to continue going further from here. We're going to continue to see the government being scaled back even more. We're going to see a lot of the programs and the social safety nets that women depend upon. Many of those are going to vanish. There's not going to be this considerable amount of handouts anymore. Many of these programs are going away. And of course, women basically traded in men for the state, but now the state is done giving handouts. And there, of course, women are going to say, okay, well, men, now you need to, men come and help, and men are going to whisper no. Like it's not happening. That's why you have there, like a lot of these democratic states are now trying to pass these bills that make it illegal for men to, release genetic material unless it's for the express purpose of reproduction. And people think it's a joke, but there's multiple states that have now done it. They are trying to punish men and control men because men do not want to be in relationships anymore. Men are basically giving up. Men are no longer subsidizing society. This is one of the reasons why I've often talked about the need to become a blue book gentleman and have your life together and have a plan and have money and also have investments, which is why you guys should be invested in crypto. Investing in crypto right now is a long term. It's a long term investment. It's an investment in your future. People who invested in Bitcoin 10 years ago and purchased one Bitcoin or two Bitcoins, they will never have to work ever again in 10 years because they will basically and I've been saying this for almost 10 years, that these people who now hold just one Bitcoin will be able to live off the interest that they're going to receive from that Bitcoin, just allowing an institution to hold a portion of that Bitcoin, and they're going to receive interest, considerable amounts of interest, just from that as a result of crypto ETFs and so forth. But it's not just Bitcoin. There are many other coins. And there's another specific coin that I continually say everyone needs to hold at least one of, that is going to make a big difference and going to allow a lot of people to become millionaires, billionaires. And you don't have to be a millionaire or a billionaire to even benefit from crypto. It's going to provide you with lots of stability. But I've been warning you guys about this for ages. Those that don't want to listen, many of you will find yourself dealing with TTCs, Tyrone 10 cities. And, as I've said, Tyrone is the king of 10 city. When Tyrone is hungry, he's going to eat. When he wants to drink, he's going to drink. When he wants some loving, he's going to get some loving because Tyrone is the king of 10 city, and he's going to rule 10 city with an iron fist. I mean, modern society is now We are 100% in a cultural dark age, and don't expect this thing to get any better anytime soon. It's going to get much worse before even the possibility of it getting better, because the boomers have been kicking the can down the road for so long that now we're all going to basically pay the consequences for the terrible decisions that these individuals have made. But guys, what do you think? Men going their own way is finally waking women up. Women are finally realizing that men are no longer interested in marriage, dating, or relationships as a result of the way they're treated in society. And there's not going to be any, there's not going to be any healing this. Women are no longer, modern women cannot go back to being feminine, because they were not raised to be feminine. They were raised to be masculine. So they can only try to pretend at best, and it will show who they are instantly, because they don't cook, they don't clean, but they expect the 666 guy. And even a lot of these conservative women, they all want the 666 guy. They don't want some just average dude. They want a 666 guy. But they're like, well, but so they're really just I call them conservative cosplayers. But let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.